In the aftermath of Judgment Day and the takeover by the machines, John Connor, Christian Bale, The Dark Knight, rises. The destined leader. I don't know why they put that in there 2 years before the movie came out. The destined leader of the human resistance must counter Skynet's devastating plan to terminate mankind as Connor rallies his underground street fighters for a last desperate battle.
He's got Guile, he's got Balrog, he's got everybody.
He realizes that to save the future, he must rescue his own father, Kyle Reese, the late Anton Yelchin from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, R.I.P.
But the most shocking discovery comes with the arrival of Marcus Wright, Sam Worthington, Avatar.
That's him screaming, by the way.
A mysterious loner from the past who challenges Connor with an impossible choice that will determine the future of the human race, leading them both on a brutal journey into the very heart of the enemy. Now, I was pumped for this. As someone who liked Terminator 3, I was glad that we're finally going into the future war and done with the time travel
When
shit.
this came out in 2009, you're talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was like, good, we're done with the time travel stuff. You can only, we did it 3 times. We did it 3 times. Let's try something else.
And it's waning. It's waning hard.
You literally made the same movie 3 times. You got lucky with the second one because the effects were new, but the third one, they were like, all right, we've had enough of this. So we're doing the future war, which is nice. Super excited. I was high on Christian Bale. He's a great Batman. I really like those movies. I was a little hesitant about McG. I love Charlie's Angels 1, but Charlie's Angels Full Throttle is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Never even seen it.
I didn't know who Sam Worthington was. So Avatar was being filmed before this, and James Cameron recommended Sam Worthington for this film, and this movie came out the same year as Avatar.
Did it really?
Yeah, 2009. Different
Which
time.
one did better?
This came out. This came out summer of 2009. Avatar came out winter of 2009.
Which one got another sequel?
No.
There you go.
There you go.
More than one.
According to IMDb, we're on Avatar 15.
Oh, good.
Yes. So
Don't age well.
I was really, really excited, and then I see the trailer for it, and then it says PG-13. I went, oh no.
Was this one rated R?
Yes.
It was?
Yes.
Really?
There's some cursing. There's some blood. There's rated R. Yeah. For this one, I went, oh no. But I was gonna give it a shot, and then I saw it in theaters, and after being really hyped up for it, I walked out going, it was all right.
I really like this one.
Could have been better. Really?
Yeah, I really like it.
I think it's actually really good too, just because it's so different from the other films
Yes.
in positive ways and
I
not
like
so much
that it's
negative.
different. So I've rewatched it for the first time in a while, and I have seen the extended cut before.
Definitely, you got to. I think you should watch the extended cut. Yeah,
I don't remember really much different. I mean, there's one scene that I think needed to be in the film. We'll get to that. Yeah, there's good stuff in this film. The problem with me is none of the people involved got on the same page script wise. This is a movie that is not sure who its main character is.
Yeah.
Yes and
because they were like, Christian Bale, we want you in this to be the Terminator guy. And he went, nah, I want to be John Connor. And it's like, well, our current version of the script, he only shows up at the end. It's not really about him. So then they had to rewrite the script to incorporate John Connor. And by the way, this came out in 2009, which means they were writing it in 2008. What do you think happened? Writers Guild strike. So there wasn't a lot of changes they could make to this because all the writers were on strike. So a lot of things at this time were just stuck with these like cobbled together scripts, and they were just like, well, we got to put it out.
Dude, for a cobbled together script, I mean, it's pretty solid.
Fine.
It's solid.
I feel like it has the most heart when it comes to like a script.
Yeah, especially
like they're No, go ahead.
No,
really? Because
I
I feel like the movie's struggling. Like it wants us to like John Connor, and then it spends so much time with Marcus and Kyle.
Because we know who John Connor is, and that's the point.
But the movie makes it seem like, okay, we're gonna see the evolution of John Connor, and then he disappears for large chunks of the movie.
Because he's already because he's coming up. He's not the leader of the resistance yet,
Yeah.
but there's enough of him where we got enough John Connor. We know exactly what he's going to do and what's going to happen.
I'm just saying, I think the movie was a little unclear what it wanted to be. Did it want it to be a movie about Marcus and Kyle Reese, or did it want to be a movie about Kyle and John? And at some point, it becomes a movie about not Kyle, John, Marcus and John.
Yeah.
And at some point, it becomes a movie about Marcus and Moon Bloodgood. That's the weakest part of the film. It would have been better though in the extended cut. There's a very important scene where, you know, she got a little dirty. She got to take her shirt off and she's very topless, washing herself. And I'm like, this is important to the plot.
Yes.
And they cut it out.
Yeah.
Because then a bunch of horny guys come to try and kill her. And I'm like, why are they so horny in the theatrical cut? And I'm like, why are they so? And like, oh, she was just showing her boobs.
Even if she didn't show her boobs, it's the post-apocalyptic setting.
No.
How many women are just traipsing through this part of the desert there?
And by the way, the women's hairs are all nice and done. They're wearing makeup. Who would have thought makeup and hairstyling stuff existed in the future?
I think it's written. I think this whole movie's written really well, despite all its drawbacks.
I just think
as far as a Terminator sequel goes,
I just think it needed a couple more rewrites, and I think we would have really had something with this. So the whole plot is this guy donates his body to Cyberdyne in the beginning, right?
Because he's on death row.
Because he's on death row, and Helena Bonham Carter's there, and she's also dying.
Yeah.
So he donates his body to Cyberdyne. In the future, it's now 2018. It's years after Judgment Day.
Well, it takes place in 2003, doesn't it? The opening scene?
The opening scene is 2003. So it's the Terminator 3 Judgment
Terminator 3 is
canon.
Yes.
Yeah. So then cuts to the future. Well, I mean, why not make it canon?
No, it's fine. And the way that they do it, I think, is good.
So John is like, you know, with the military guys, they find a site that was being run by the machines, and they find out the T-800s are coming out a little earlier than they thought. And I do like, again, I wish the movie focused more on John, because I like this where it's like people see him as a prophet and other people are kind of annoyed by him because he hasn't quite made it there yet.
I thought there was balance with that, though, because that is a plot point, like all the stuff with Michael Ironside and shit like that.
Michael Ironside, who can't sit in the movie because he just had horrifying spine surgery, which is why he's no, that's the thing.
I know, but like,
he's just like, listen, John. I'm like, oh my God, get someone else. Give Michael Ironside some time to lay down or something. He looks like he's going through a lot. So then this guy, Marcus, wakes up in the future and he's like, what am I doing? I'm going to help you, Kyle Reese.
Yeah. The man cannot scream for his life.
Eventually, you know, Kyle gets taken. They get separated. He eventually meets John, but that's when it's revealed. And again, with Terminator spoiling stuff, they spoiled this in the trailer where it turns out he's a robot. Or at least part robot. He is a true cyborg.
He's a cyborg, yeah. He's the prototype.
Yeah. And then there's like this uneasy alliance between them, and you find out it's like all this long con. Like there's this whole thing where they have the signal to kill the robots.
I'm kind
but
of
it's
into
a big long, and I like this, the big long con just to get them to all come to Cyberdyne so they can just wipe them all out.
Yeah, specifically John and
specifically
Kyle.
John, yes.
Yeah, and none of that time travel and shit.
Yes,
well, not yet anyway, because it hasn't happened.
It hasn't been made yet. Yeah. And I do love they were smart with the CGI Arnold that eventually shows up. You only get a couple shots of his face, and they quickly shoot him with a grenade to melt his skin off.
I remember
that was smart.
I remember everybody making such a big deal out of it, and then when I had revisited it, I was like, "This doesn't look that bad. Like, it doesn't look that bad."
If they lingered on it longer, whatever. If they did a Tron Legacy, it would have looked like shit.
Or a Grand Moff Tarkin, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. That Grand Moff Tarkin looks good in a couple shots, and then it's just
too long. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, they nuke him.
yeah. But the movie is a little choppy because, like, when I was watching this yesterday, John Connor comes out of the hole, and I'm like, wow, that dead guy looks just like Terry Crews.
He did look. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's Terry Crews.
It is Terry Crews.
Cut out his entire thing.
Yeah.
What? They cut out his entire thing, but they left his dead body. So you sit there, and it just takes you.
Is that Terry Crews?
If you don't know who Terry Crews is, it's whatever. But if you know who Terry Crews is, you're like, what the fuck is Terry Crews doing there?
Now I'm upset.
And he's Common's brother. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. In the movie.
Which they mentioned that, but it's never
in
made
passing.
clear.
Yeah.
It reminds me, we did World War Z a while back, and like Matthew Fox's entire character was so whittled down to just like 2 scenes, and he barely says anything. It's like the guy from Lost. He's just a C-level like supporting character in this because Val edited the movie. So I thought it was okay. I've watched it a couple times since then, and it's fine. It's definitely not the worst thing. People were acting like it was the worst thing.
People hate this movie, and I feel like
it's a hard movie to hate. It's a easy movie to be disappointed by.
And they also skip it too. When Dark Fate was coming out, everybody was doing their Terminator marathons, and I saw a bunch of people just skip right over. They're like, "Oh no, Arnold, fuck that."
My favorite is Arnold making fun of this in an interview. He's like, "He didn't come back with the 4th one." He's like, "Yeah, because it sucked." He did this while promoting Genesis. Anyway, now the one thing I think we could all agree on, the future in this looks nothing like the future in the other movies. Like, where's all the darkness? Where's the purple guns? Like,
not yet.
Nah. No, I want to see that future war. I want to see that goddamn future war. I don't want to see Mad Max. I want to see future Terminator war.
That's what it looks like in the daytime.
Where's the rows and rows of skulls? Because for some reason in the Terminator universe, people die and all their bones disappear except for their skulls.
Immediately stack them.
Well, the future that they always show you is usually like ground zero, like that playground and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So even though all those bones should be ash, anyway.
But this is the last one that Stan Winston worked on.
Yeah.
Although at this point, he even admitted, like, he's like, I mean, my people do most of the work. I just kind of show up and say, do
he's
that.
a consultant.
But yeah, he died. It's dedicated to his memory. This and like Iron Man were like the last things he worked on.
Yeah. John Rosengrant, I think, was the lead effects guy on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like the effects are really good. Like the makeup or practical effects are really, really good.
I love the primitive Terminators, like those first couple with had the rubber skin on them and shit.
Yes.
Or the proto human skin that's just like rotting off of them.
Yes, they look like zombies.
Oh my god! And those scenes where like the machines aren't sure yet how to do it, so they're like abducting people and cutting their skin off and just like stretching it over robots.
Was that the extended version?
I think so.
Okay.
You don't see it actually in action, but you see like the experiments where Sam Worthington is.
Then there were some other stuff where it's like, this is like a few years after Transformers, so suddenly there's a giant Terminator who has mini Terminators come off of him and turn into vehicle Terminators. And it's like, you could definitely see that there's a producer that was like, which I'm sure this was only greenlit because everyone was like, robots are in right now.
Yeah.
Iron Man, Terminator, Transformers, we're bringing Terminator back. You better put a giant fucking Terminator in
I think it's a cool fucking scene, dude. And the Hunter Killers are really cool.
It's fine. It's done effectively, but I think at that point it was like, especially when you watched it live, you're like, all right, I get what you're doing.
Okay.
I've kind of already seen this.
For cashing in on that wave of shit that was coming out, you said it best. This movie has a lot of heart despite all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it actually cares about the lore of the first two movies and really does a good job of like piecing it all together, but not too in your face. You know what I mean? It's all kind of there sprinkled throughout. Even down to the scars on John Connor's face.
Yeah, I guess I was fine with the scar a little bit. That was fine.
I think that's fine.
I'm like, all right.
It's better than the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember what the ending was going to be? The ending they didn't use?
Shit.
Ooh, are you ready for this? So you know how they stab John's heart at the end?
Yeah.
And they're like, let's switch our hearts.
Yeah.
My heart is strong. Originally,
he was going to become a Terminator, wasn't he?
It's like John Connor dies. And Marcus like wears his skin, or it was like
something like that.
They put his skin on Marcus.
Yes.
So he is technically John Connor. He's going to honor the memory of John Connor
and then lead the world
and then lead the war. So they're being led by a machine. And it was like, yeah, I don't know how that one even got that. Someone should have been like, no.
I mean,
it doesn't help that the movie was building up to that and they had to rewrite it. And that's why they made so many, like, there's clearly lines of dialogue where like, your heart is beating so fast, that good heart that will be given to John Connor later.
They say it a lot. Like, wow, your heart's like really beating out of your chest. When Lovegood's like, oh yeah, what's Bloodgood or Lovegood?
Moon Bloodgood.
Moon Bloodgood. There you go.
Yes, from Street Fighter, The Rise of Legend of Chun-Li.
Ah, gotcha.
Yes, that movie we all love.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going this movie's weak, but not terrible. You like it. It's your favorite movie ever. You watch it all the time.
Yeah. It's my favorite movie. I watch it all the time. No, this is my Terminator 3. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how can this be your Terminator 3?
This is my Terminator 3.
Built off of Terminator 3.
But this is my Terminator 3. It's built off Terminator 3, but it doesn't need Terminator 3 to exist.
But then when you watch it in order, aren't you be like, why did it say Judgment Day was 2003? That makes no sense.
That's all right, because it got pushed back.
Who's Catherine Brewster, who was a vet, and I guess now she can work on people, because that's whatever. Oh, Catherine, fucking Jim's leg's falling off. And she's like, I once trimmed a bird's beak that was too long. I can fix him.
I didn't say I agree with it. I said it can exist that way, but if you just kind of ignore that little part, it works.
Yeah. So how about you? Good or bad?
So I thought it was good, but I almost think that 3 was better for watch value.
Okay.
So like I feel like the two movies are like interchangeable. Like so Salvation, I don't think it had very good action scenes like at all.
Really?
But the story
the first scene
was,
where they're
was
raiding,
definitely more like it kept me in there. Whereas
Yeah.
the third one, garbage story, great, awesome action scenes, and this one just flipped the.
I
flipped
did
the
like
whole thing.
the action in scene in the beginning where they're raiding the Cyberdyne, the Skynet.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's cool.
That
There's
one's
a
cool.
couple good scenes, but like again, the drama is back in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they did a lot of good things with it. Like they were able to explore what's in the future since we've never been there. Like they have the worms, they have the motorbikes, which are extremely easily to hack. You know, everything's
Well,
easy to hack.
because John
But-
Connor knows how to hack.
And they
like,
even
they-
pick
I
up
do
that
like-
Guns N' Roses, dude.
Yeah, they play. I do
was
like
cool.
how he's hacking into the
Yeah.
door and everything.
Yeah.
every scene that Christian Bale hacks into something, he pries off like a panel, just plugs it in and just it's hacked. He does
what he
that
did in
3
Terminator
separate
2.
times.
He's very smart.
I wrote
He's
a
been-
note down.
he's been preparing
because
his
of
whole
how many
life.
times he does that exact. Open the panel, plug in the thing.
Yes,
I'm
but
hacked.
remember, guys, Christian Bale yelled at a guy.
Yeah, he did.
That was like a big thing. Remember that?
Oh, good.
Good for you. Christian Bale is such a like method actor that he doesn't break the accent the entire time he's in character. So even though he was flipping out and screaming at that
was
guy,
American.
he was doing it in an American accent. I'm like, good for you, Christian Bale. You've been doing this since you were a kid, so you know what you're doing.
I just for me, I just have too many complaints about the action scenes. Like when they defeat or
It's definitely
defeat
no
the one
longer- after
Terminator
the-
and Christian
after the
Bale's
second one-
crawling away. He
Yeah.
conveniently passes 2 like air duct pipes, and one of them is for hot, the next one's conveniently for cold, and I'm just like, really, like that's how that's like you crawl backwards on your back. Oh, that was lucky. I hope the next one's cold. And then I'm like,
I didn't realize how dumb that was. That's pretty.
that's
funny.
literally how it happens. I was very upset. I'm like, that's
He
how
froze him too early. It didn't give him time to melt all
But
the
this
way.
gets a pass because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.